Hello there, my name is Sergio Alvarado and I would like to share some valuable takeaways I gained from taking the GELITWO course. So throughout the course, I was exposed to a variety of materials, both within and outside of the modules, that provided me with the various forms of new information. As I delved deeper into the course materials, I discovered some fascinating details that helped me to better comprehend the subject matter. As we can see, the GELITWO course is known as the literatures of the world. It is widely composed of the study and analysis of literary works from various parts of the world. So the main objective of the course is to broaden students' understanding of different literary traditions and perspectives, while also improve their critical thinking skills and appreciation for literature as an art form. So the GELITWO course covers a range of genres including poetry, drama, fiction, and non-fiction. Therefore, it gives us significant impact which we can able to understand the world. So let me start by sharing the lessons that I absorbed in this course. So in the first module of the topic, which I called the National in the Global 2022, the three materials that I selected are the following. These are Catherine Lim's The Taximan Story, El Empleo, and In a Heartbeat. So, let me share the valuable takeaways I've gained from studying these materials. So, my first takeaway in this poem was written by Catherine Lim. This material provided me with valuable takeaways that enhanced my understanding. So the story entitled The Taximan Story showcases societal elements specific to its place of origin while also appealing to a global audience. It explores the evolution of Singapore from a simpler and more peaceful time to the present day, highlighting the significant changes the city has undergone. So the narrative also delves into the issue of teenage prostitution, with the taxi cab driver recounting his experience of inadvertently transporting young girls to engage in such illicit activities. And my second takeaway is that it highlights the harsh reality of modern-day teenagers who indulge in harmful activities such as drinking, drugs, and sex, which can have severe consequences on their well-being and especially their future. So remember that every action has its consequences. It reminds us the importance of being mindful of our actions as they can have a lasting impact on our lives, either positive or negative. And lastly, my takeaway is that in this poem is the parents often put their children's needs before their own, just like how the taximan is doing for his children, who is the narrator of the story. He sacrifices his own dreams and goals on hold for the sake of his kids just to give them a brighter future. However, the problem is that there seems to be a growing trend of a younger generation just like her daughter, showing negative attitudes and disrespectful behaviors towards her father, which is causing more concerns for many older citizens due to the influence of the present society. So the next material is titled El Empleo or The Employment. It has come to my attention that this short film holds a considerable importance of the lives of individual workers. So my first takeaway is that the video depicts a dehumanizing society where groups of people were seen as an objects in employment, when a man lies down on the floor like a carpet as his main job, for example. So it highlights the concept that workers are viewed as machines whose faces are out of sorts. And my second takeaway regarding in the content is that it becomes evident to me that employment has a profound influence on our mental health, exerting control over our emotional and psychological state. So the video shed a light on a distressing situation where a group of workers found themselves trapped in their jobs, leading to feelings of hopelessness and sadly depression. It is a disheartening to acknowledge that in today's world, the corporate environment can be incredibly intimidating, particularly when one is underpaid and lacks support from both of their employer and colleagues. And finally, my last takeaway regarding the El Empleo is that it is a finding a balance between work and personal life, and it is crucial in our lives. So the video emphasizes the importance of cherishing our time away from work and encourage us to relax and appreciate the joyful moments with our loved ones. By doing so, we not only find fulfillment and happiness but also enhance our productivity, motivation, and dedication towards our professional careers. So the last material that I chose in Module 1 is titled In a Heartbeat. It is somewhat portrays a heartwarming story that captures in the form of love between the two male characters, or broadly, where it draws homosexuality which serves as the central focus of the short film. This content may have no dialogue but it has a meaningful context that carries out of the essence of love between the same gender. And that is my first takeaway of this material. So, furthermore, my second takeaway is that it highlights the significance of courage as the protagonist gains strength by revealing his feelings to a boy he admires. It emphasizes that embracing one's true self and expressing emotion to others requires bravery. So this journey serves as a source of motivation for the audience to assert themselves and pursue their goals with determination. And my last takeaway is that this material conveys the message that the same gender romantic relationships are equally normal and valid, just like relationships between individuals with different genders. As a result, LGBT themes are prominently featured and play a central role in the film. So let's now dive into Module 2. So in the Module 2, which I call the colonial past and past colonial present, the three materials that I selected are Not Poor, Barbara Streisand, and Telephone Conversation. Now, let me share the valuable takeaways I have gained from these materials. So the first material that I selected is titled Not Poor. So my first takeaway is that the video highlights the distressing issue of racial discrimination, as it portrays a man being subjected to humiliation by someone he knows. This person holds the misguided belief that all black individuals are part of the underprivileged or impoverished community. Unfortunately, this sad reality is faced by many black people who often encounter racism, discrimination, and a sense of exclusion from the white community. It is disheartening to acknowledge that society often judges individuals based on their physical appearance, perpetuating such stereotypes. So in my second takeaway in this material is that it highlights the common stereotypes where it portrays certain beliefs such as all black people being poor, Asian people being intelligent, white people being wealthy, and African people being physically strong. So these beliefs should be avoided since people's circumstances are not based by their own race and ethnicity. Instead, we must treat people equally and avoid making assumptions about their appearances without any evidences of their social background. And lastly, of my takeaway is that the importance of cutting off negative people, and it is emphasized when a black man decides to leave a toxic workplace filled with racist and prejudiced individuals who belittle others based on their physical appearance. It is important to remove people with such negative mindsets from our lives as it is not only preserves our well-being but also gives us control over our decisions in our lives. So, in the next material is Barbara Streisand, carefully taught and children will listen. So my first takeaway about Barbara Streisand is she is considerably solidified her musical career, making her the most iconic singer of all time, as well as her acting career. She was established to fame by beginning her portrayal role of Fanny Brice in the musical film Funny Girl in 1964. The following year in 1965, she was awarded 2 Emmy Awards for her television named My Name is Barbara, the first of a series of special success to come. My second takeaway is that one thing that really impressed me about her performance was her amazing voice, and the deep lyrics of the song stood out the most. So the words were so meaningful that they immediately grabbed my attention. The line that resonated with me the most was, "Careful the things you say, children will listen, and careful the things you do, children will do." This reminds me that the importance of being mindful of our words and actions towards our children, as they have a significant impact on their character development and behavior. And my last takeaway from Barbara Streisand is that both of the songs highlights the importance of shaping the behavior we want for our children. If we want them to see with good morals, we must show and teach them the positive side such as kindness, empathy, and humility. So, my takeaway in the poem is it delves into the deep impact of racial discrimination, exposing the harsh truths of racism and prejudice in our society. It portrays a white British landlady and an African man in search of accommodation. However, the landlady denies him to reserve a room solely because of his black race. And my another takeaway is that it appears that the landlady has a stereotypical behavior, which she uses a discriminatory remarks towards the black man. Therefore, it portrays the central theme and issue of discrimination and racism of the poem. And my last takeaway is it is important to consider that the poem spread a dynamic lessons for the readers about the harsh reality of racism and discrimination. It serves as a reminder and awareness for us that this issue is still inherent and inevitable all around the world, and therefore, people must educate themselves regarding on this subject and willing for them to stand up for themselves against those who are characterized with discrimination and racism personality. So let us now dive in the last inside module, which what I called body, mind, and desire. So the three materials that I selected was Dear Ivan Hansel, the vagina monologue, and the last 5 years. And this is exactly the last inside module that I will likely to share my takeaways that I've gathered from those materials. So, my first takeaway from Dear Ivan Hansel is it sheds a light on the struggles of individuals dealing with mental health issues. It highlights the needs for empathy and support towards those who are suffering. The story of Ivan Hansel is a reminder that mental health issues should not be taken lightly and that we should strive to create a safe and supportive environment for people to seek help. And my second takeaway is it focuses on mental health and social anxiety, offering a unique perspective on the internal battle faced by Ivan. Through his journey, the novel explores the profound emotional toll of anxiety and the intricate nature of mental health, fostering understanding and compassion for those grappling with similar obstacles. And my last takeaway is it highlights the importance of human connection and empathy, shedding light on how understanding and compassion can empower individuals to overcome their challenges. It has the potential to motivate us to cultivate empathy in our lives, fostering a society that is more supportive and understanding that can improve our mental well-being. So my first takeaway on the vagina monologue is it is the collection of personal narratives that delves into the experience of different women and their relationship with their own vaginas. It bravely explores topics such as sexuality, body image, and the unique challenges faced by women. By breaking the silence surrounding this taboo topic, it empowers women to embrace their femininity and share their stories without shame. So my second takeaway is that the content is likely to be taboo. In fact, it is social custom to avoid talking about that subject since people find it embarrassing or offensive. So several women were embarrassed talking about their own reproductive organs, which is what I call, of course, the vagina. However, as they start to feel at ease, they become more open and enthusiastic about sharing their experiences, which truly showcases the empowerment in their feminine nature. And my last takeaway is that the content does not solely discuss about women's story about their vaginas, of course, but it discusses also about the women empowerment. So they share their personal story that despite of the struggle and challenges they encountered against body shame and sexual violence, they still stand up for themselves courageously. So by doing so, they express their story as it raised self-awareness, education, and advocate towards women's rights and women's worth around the world. So my first takeaway in the last 5 years is that the communication signifies importance of the context. For example, it shows that Jamie and Kathy developed struggles to communicate with each other's story, leading to a major obstacle in the relationship, causing it to crumble. So the musical emphasizes the importance of open and honest communication for a relationship to thrive. And my second takeaway from the last 5 years is it is the understanding as the main important tool to maintain the relationship. So in any relationship, there will always be a conflict between a partner regardless of being in a maturity. So Jamie and Kathy, for example, with their individual dreams and aspirations, face challenges in finding a common ground that satisfy both of them. So as a result, tension and resentment arise, putting strain on their relationship. And my last takeaway from the last 5 years is it stands out due to its portrayal of the story from two distinct perspectives. So this emphasizes the significance of perspective in shaping our understanding of events and situations. What may appear insignificant to one individual can be a significant challenge for another. So through experience the narrative from both Jamie and Kathy's perspectives, we gain valuable insights into the difficulties of their relationships and the factors contributing to its eventual deterioration. So now we're already finished the inside module, which is module 1 to 3. So let's dive into the outside modules, which includes the class lectures, sync, and async activities, reading, and viewing materials that covered from it. So let me share my takeaways, which I gained in my level of understanding. So, the elements of literary experience. So, my takeaways about the elements of literary experience adapted from Ishigami R. Cruz includes body of work, tradition, author, and the reader. It also categorized with subjective and critical evaluation, elements, paces, style, ideology, works of other authors, background, readers, intention, and experience. And this is my first takeaway that I share. So, furthermore, my second takeaway is that subjective and critical evaluation as its importance in familiarizing these two aspects in literary experience, since both of them helps engage the readers effectively by providing various lessons about life events and broadens our perspectives. So in the subject evaluation, it refers to the reader's personal thoughts, opinions, and emotional feedbacks about the story, whereas critical evaluation refers to the analysis of the story's themes, circumstances, and cultural context. And my last takeaway is it is important to understand the elements of literary experience since it allows us to delve in to understand the world and gain lessons about the author's narrative text that came from his ideas and his own past experiences. And it also allows us gather themes related to the society, human experience like relationships, human rights, mental health, gender identity, power, and many much more. So in the elements of fiction, so my first takeaway is that it consists of 10 elements. It includes characters, narrator of viewpoints, language, dialogue, setting, plot, theme, terms, devices, and style, and lastly, structure. And it is important for us to familiarize these components because as we create a story, we can able to captivate and engage readers and also create a compelling narrative that transports them to a different world, which can connect them to a story with a deeper level. And my second takeaway regarding the elements of fiction is that the characters are the crucial elements of fiction at the center of the story or theme. Like for example, the names of the characters such as Clark Kent or Superman is considerably the most important character and also one of the most known superhero worldwide in the DC Comics fiction due to its iconic character which portrays the symbol hope, since it helps people to stand out of themselves despite all the obstacles they face in their life. And my last takeaway in the elements in fiction, it also comprised with literary and popular literature. So literary refers to the realm of nature of books and writings, especially those classed as literature, whereas popular literature refers to writings that are specifically intended to read targeted towards the general publics, as well as those are well received by a wide range of people or mass audiences. So the next material is the hero's journey. So my first takeaway in the context of John Campbell's titled Hero's Journey had gained my knowledge and valuable insights from the content. So in my first takeaway, that stood out to me in the concept of the two different worlds, which is the ordinary world and special world. So in fact, the ordinary world is the starting point of the hero's journey, where it's the place of comfort. It introduces as an ordinary person who is living his ordinary and comfortable life, whereas in the special world, it is a place of discomfort, adventure, danger, and uncertainty. It is where a hero or a person who must confront his fears and struggles to make it overcome them. And my second takeaway in the video is it reminds me about the experience of every human being. It emphasizes the challenges and obstacles that we encounter in our lives, such as stepping out of our comfort zone, and instead exposing ourselves into the unknown or in the special world. Since it is a place of discomfort or danger zone, enable for us to find growth and new opportunities. And my last takeaway in the hero's journey is that it serves as a reminder or important lessons for us that every one of us has a different journeys or steps throughout our lives in the real world. So our journey begins at the starting point, often referred to as the call to adventure, and continue until we reach our ultimate destination, known as the freedom to live. If we want to achieve the things that we really want, we must be willing to prepare to face the unknown, the discomforts, the challenges in crossing the thresholds, the road of trials, and other risky steps. So in the poem or poetry, my first takeaway is that it can be divided into three distinct parts: the reader, the reciter, and the performer. So these three parts work together to create the poetic qualities and improvements of the poem. The reader is responsible for silently reading the poem and gaining insights and awareness from it. The reciter, on the other hand, recites the poem out loud, using their own voice and tone to convey emotions and create meaningful words to the audience and listeners. And lastly, the performer takes the recitation of the poem to the next level by adding movements and gestures based on their role in the performance, which captivates the audience with their interpretation. So my second takeaway is that it has a unique perspective on the ways of looking in a poetry. So we have lines, stanzas, and line breaks, as well as the various parts of rhymes, imagery, word choice, and figurative languages. So these elements is very important for writers to be learned if they are starting to create a meaningful poetry and able to engage the readers effectively. And my last takeaway about the poem and poetry is it creates a captivating imagination. It makes the reader feel as if they are on a part of the scene in any themes of the poem. However, this can only achieve if the reader is able to understand its figurative meanings and languages used in the poem. So let me now share my takeaways about the personas. So my first takeaway is understanding the persona as it is an essential first step in understanding a poem. The persona is essentially the speaker or the voice of the poem. By understanding the persona, a speaker must convey with emotions and their roles from the dramatic monologue. Second takeaway is that the personas in poetry are not limited to just one speaker but can consist of three or more individuals who express themselves through dramatic monologues in order to engage and captivate more to the audience. So their role is to create various emotions narratively to gain insights and feedbacks from the audience. And lastly, persona. Persona is an important element of poetry since it can be used in a various way. In fact, this heavily relies on the use of poetry. So poets often draw from the knowledge they know about and as well as stating their story from or sharing their story from their personal experiences and past events in writing down about some themes such as love, heartbreak, nature, racism, and many much more. So this develops in exploring different perspectives, add depth to the poem, and helps makes the poetry more engaged and meaningful for both poets and the audiences. So my takeaway in this activity is that where I attended in the HTG symposium around the third week of September 2023. So in my first takeaway in the activity is it talks about the declaration of martial law in 1972 when attorney Luke Espiritu discussed about the past circumstances in political history. And my second takeaway is that it talks about the tragic events of martial law during that time when attorney Clodoaldo Del Mundo Jr. presented a saddening video. So it highlights the story of a young activist student named Liliosa who lost her life along with 3,000 people under the rule of President Ferdinand Marcos. And last but not the least, in my takeaway is where it talks about the struggles of workers, peasants, and land reforms during the martial law. For example, the enforcement of martial law policies by the military had a profound impact on the lives of peasants and workers. So they were constantly under military surveillance and subjected to a various human rights abuses such as extrajudicial killings, torture, and forced disappearances. So these oppressive actions instilled a sense of fear and intimidation, effectively silencing any form of dissent. So next is vicious. So my first takeaway about the episode, the TV series Vicious features a pair of gay couple, Freddie and Stuart, who I find particularly endearing. So their 48-year relationship is a testament to the power of love and commitment as they have weathered many challenges together. Their bond is a shining example of the qualities that make for a strong and lasting friendship, such as trust, honesty, and respect. I admire their authenticity and consider their relationship to be truly special. And my second takeaway is that despite their numerous disagreements, they still choose to be with each other because they are capable of resolving their issues that they went for. This is yet my takeaway from their healthy relationship, and it is clear that they are truly care with each other and they are afraid of losing between of them. And last but not the least, my takeaway is that the content also shows its humor as a tool to address serious topics such as aging, loneliness, and societal prejudices against the LGBTQ community. So the jokes are clever and other self-depreciating, but they never feel mean-spirited. So the humor is used to highlight the absurdities of life and to bring attention to important issues in a way that is both entertaining and thought-provoking. So in Isagani Si Cruz Halimaw Harley Quinn, so my takeaways where I watched the theater performance. It is about the show that regards a thought-provoking allegory that delves into the perils of power and corruption. So through its narrative story, the performance aims to shed lights on socio-political issues that continue to plague society. And my second takeaway is it sets in a Philippine settings where Alberto starts an epic adventure in Halimao. He embarks on a mission to save the three young women of the tyrannical king, who were abducted by three monsters that symbolizes the challenges faced by young people. So, along the way, Alberto must confront the mysterious and alerting Bining-Bining Sirena, the deceitful Ginang Porista, and the cunning Ginoong Dragon. With the help of two ordinary men named Juan, Alberto must gather his courage and determination to defeat those monsters and rescue the three Marias. So, and lastly, the performance ends with Alberto's victory was achieved by defeating the three monsters, saving the three Marias and dethroning the tyrannical king who used to be the father of the young women. So this marks at the end of the performance as Alberto ascends to the throne as a new king. So DLSU HTG has partnered with local Filipino talents to bring satirical comedy production to the Philippine theater scene. So the play, written by a Filipino author, explores socially conscious and timely narratives that are relevant to Filipino audiences. So the production promises to be hilarious and thought-provoking experience that celebrates the Filipino culture. And this is my last takeaway of the Isagani Cruz Halimaw Harley Quinn. This is also theater performance that I had watched. So in my first takeaway, Silver Lining is a unique piece of art that blends modern rock and pop music with a captivating storyline. The journey takes through two timelines, one reliving the challenges times of the 1970s and the other exploring the struggles and conflicts of today's youth. So with a perfect mix of mirthful moments and drama, this is a must watch for anyone looking for a journey of rediscovery. And my second takeaway is that the performance focuses on a captivating personal narrative that connects in the past to the present, where the three longtime friends, Leo, Antun, and Raul, must completely know their past experiences and able to find gaps during their teenage years about the declaration of martial law. So Leo in particular hasn't moved on in his past since his past lover Julia had tragically died during those times. And lastly, the performance serves as a reflection of both the past and the present, which highlights the profound impacts that the past can have on our current lives. So this is a particularly true if unresolved issues from the past continues to haunt us. Take Leo for example, who is still haunted by memories of Julia, his beloved who tragically passed away during the martial law declaration. So in an effort to delve deeper into his past, Leo decides to involve his loved ones in a performance, hoping to gain a better understanding of his own history. So our experiences, memories, and traumas can shape on how the way we see the world in the present. It's important to acknowledge and process our past experiences in a healthy way to prevent from the negatively impact our present and the future. So in the last outside module that I will likely to share is 14. So I have the three main takeaways from this collection since it involves the power of human connection, the complexity of identity, and the importance of communication. So my first takeaway is in each play, we see characters who are struggling with their relationship with others, whether it's a parent-child dynamic, a romantic relationship, or a friendship. Through these interactions, we see how the connections we make with others can have a profound impact in our lives. And my second takeaway is it also delves into the idea of identity and how it can be shaped by our experiences and relationships. We see characters who are struggling to understand themselves and their place in the world, and we see how these struggles can lead to both self-discovery and self-destruction. Finally, the place highlights the importance of communication in all of our relationships. Where there is a lack of communication that leads to a misunderstandings or an inability to express our feelings, we see how communication breakdown can have a serious consequences. So, as an individual and a member of the present society, I am able to explore the boundless world of the internet, where it has the capability of accessing a multitude range of information, which allows me to provide knowledge and sharpen my thinking. So the GELITWO course in particular, I see this very interesting and an eye-opening experience in my academic journey, offering me valuable lessons and insights into the societal dynamics that have shaped the lives of people in the past and continue to impact to present today. And especially, of course, as the elements of poetry and literary works, since it gives significant impact to our lives as well. Though the literatures of the world has a profound influence on people and their understanding of human experiences, it often explores complex issues, themes, emotions, and history, as well as cultural and societal expectations throughout the world. By immersing myself in this topic, I often gain a nuanced and deeper understanding of the world, which enables me to approach in a broader perspective that gives authority to my interaction with others. After my academic journey in the LSU, one of the learning and insights that I gained from GELITWO course might happen and reflect in my future experience. In the short film El Empleo or the employment, for example, I envision myself in working a corporate environment as an employee, where I should work repeatedly, enable for me to meet my necessities and my wants. So based on the content, I can't help but feel a bit apprehensive about the idea of working in a corporate world as an employee. Therefore, I hope that I will find a job that allows me to excel my growth and use my skill and creativity rather than being simply a cog in a machine. And also, I would find a job that should be a more than a paycheck. More than a paycheck, and it should offer self-improvement and a sense of fulfillment to make my life more secure and comfortable. So in conclusion, the GELITWO course provided me with a comprehensive learning experience by exposing me to a diverse range of materials. So this course expanded my knowledge beyond the modules, allowing me to explore various genres such as poetry, drama, fiction, and non-fiction. Through each module and literary experience, I gained valuable lessons and insights. The wide array of materials enhanced my understanding and appreciation for different forms of literature. So overall, the GELITWO course has enriched my learning journey and deepened my love for literature. So thank you for listening and have a nice day. Peace.